Okay, so let's talk about the one little molecule that pretty much drives everything you do. I'm talking about dopamine. It's the engine behind your motivation, your desires, that feeling of satisfaction, the whole shebang. But what if I told you that most of what you've heard about how it works is, well, just plain wrong? Let's dive in. We're always told that we're just chasing that next hit of pleasure, right? That next feeling of reward. But what if that constant chase, that endless pursuit of the next high, is the very thing that's actually sabotaging our long-term motivation? Well, the science is pretty clear. It is. It's a huge paradox. And today, we're going to untangle it. You've heard this phrase a million times, the dopamine hit. You're scrolling social media, you eat a cookie, your phone buzzes. Boom, you got a dopamine hit. It's everywhere. But here's the thing. That whole idea, it's kind of a lie. Yeah, you heard me right. Your brain isn't some gumball machine where you put a coin in and get a quick jolt of pleasure. It's way more sophisticated than that. See, your brain maintains a constant circulating baseline level of dopamine. Just think of this baseline as the foundation for your mood, your overall energy, and your drive to get up and do things. That baseline, that's the real source of your motivation. Okay, so this brings us to what is maybe the most important concept for understanding your own drive. It's not about those individual hits that we're always talking about. It's all about the relationship between your constant baseline and the sharp increases or peaks that you get on top of it. Getting this dynamic right, honestly, it changes everything. So, to get just a little bit nerdy for a second, neurobiologists have names for these. Your baseline level, that's called tonic dopamine. Think of it as the steady hum of motivation, just running in the background all day. And those sharp peaks that ride on top of it, that's phasic dopamine. Those are the spikes you get from a rewarding experience. The two are in this constant dance, and it's their interaction that really truly matters. We all tend to focus on the peak, right? That amazing moment of pleasure or victory. But the real secret to having motivation that lasts isn't found in the high itself. It's all about what happens in the moments immediately after. This is it. This is the punchline. It's like a law of physics for your brain. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. After every single peak in dopamine, your baseline doesn't just go back to normal. Nope, it temporarily drops below where it was before you started. And the higher that peak was, the deeper the drop that follows. That kind of empty feeling you get after a huge success or a really fun night, that's literally your dopamine baseline taking a nosedive. This whole dynamic has a name. It's called the pleasure-pain balance. Your brain actually experiences that drop in baseline as a form of pain or craving. I mean, to create that big peak, your brain basically had to use up its immediate stash of available dopamine. So that craving you feel afterward, that's your brain's powerful signal to go get more. But as you can imagine, that signal can lead us down a really dangerous path. So you're probably wondering, just how high do these peaks actually get? This isn't just some vague feeling we're talking about. Scientists have put real numbers on these spikes. So let's look at the data and see how this plays out with some everyday stuff. All right, check this out. That piece of chocolate you love, that'll give you a nice little bump, about 1.5 times your normal baseline. Sex can double it. Nicotine can push it up to 2.5 times. But then you get to substances like amphetamine, which can cause an absolutely staggering 10 times spike. Just imagine that. And remember the rule. The higher that bar goes, the deeper and longer the crash that's guaranteed to follow. And this right here, this is the trap. As neuroscientist Andrew Huberman puts it so well, when you keep chasing these massive peaks over and over, your brain adapts. Your whole baseline actually starts to lower, and it takes more and more stimulation just to feel normal, let alone to feel good. The things that you used to enjoy, they start to feel kind of flat, kind of boring. Okay, so that's the problem. It sounds a little bleak, right? But here is the good news. Once you understand the rules of the game, you can start to play it differently. You can stop being a victim of this cycle and start actively managing your dopamine for motivation that actually lasts. So here's the new playbook. First up, stop stacking pleasures. Listening to your favorite playlist while chugging a pre-workout, while scrolling Instagram at the gym, that's layering 3 huge dopamine peaks on top of each other. It feels amazing in the moment, for sure, but it guarantees a massive crash later, which makes it that much harder to get yourself to the gym next time. Second, reward the effort. This is huge. Don't just celebrate the finish line, teach your brain to love the struggle itself. And finally, use intermittent rewards. The folks in Vegas figured this out a long time ago.
Unpredictable, random rewards are way more motivating than ones you know are coming. You gotta keep your brain guessing.
And what's really cool is that you have more control here than you think. Your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain that does the thinking and planning, can actually influence these primitive reward circuits by consciously, deliberately telling yourself, this is hard, and that's the good part. You can literally train your brain to release dopamine not for finishing the work, but for the act of doing the work. And if you want a really powerful, kind of shocking tool to put this into practice, check this out. Studies show that deliberate cold water exposure, we're talking a cold shower or an ice bath, can increase your baseline dopamine by 250%. That's 2.5 times. But here's the incredible part. Unlike the sharp peaks we saw before, this is not a spike followed by a crash. It is a slow, steady, sustained rise that can last for hours, leaving you feeling calm, focused, and in a great mood, all because you leaned in to a little bit of friction. So when you really think about it, the path to motivation that sticks isn't about chasing bigger and bigger highs. It's about protecting and even raising your baseline level of dopamine. It's about learning to love the effort and finding the reward in the challenge itself. It completely flips the script from just seeking pleasure to actually building drive. So the only question left is, how are you going to invest in your baseline?